Vodka Guy.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Ever just want to chuck your controller at the screen? You know when a game's bugging out and it's like, it's not me, it's you.
Oh, tell me about it.
Well, that's what we're diving into today, specifically a bug in A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead, that's got players seeing red over on the Steam forums.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that one. What's going on?
So we're talking about reports, insights, the whole shebang, ready to get buggy.
Let's do it.
All right, so A Quiet Place, for anyone who hasn't had the pleasure, it's not exactly a relaxing stroll in the park. We're talking scavenging, crafting, and, oh yeah, tiptoeing around creatures that hear everything.
Right, so the game is already designed to keep you on edge.
Exactly, which is what makes this bug we're looking at even more, well, frustrating. Imagine you've made it, you've braved the jump scares, scavenged for what feels like the last can of beans on Earth, and you've finally reached the radio tower, a pretty pivotal point in the game, right?
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat.
But when you go to interact with the power switch, using your controller like a normal person, nothing. The left stick input just dies.
Oh, so you're just stuck there.
Pretty much. And to add insult to injury, the game throws up a message that says, too narrow to use, which is like, come on.
Ouch. Yeah, that's not great. In a game where you're already second-guessing every move, that kind of message would really mess with you.
Right. Total mood killer. And the thing is, this isn't just a one-off thing. Another user, Agathoclus69, mentioned a similar issue, but with the noise trap diffusion mechanic.
Oh no, so multiple controller inputs are being wonky?
Seems like it. And in a game where silence is golden, imagine having to repeatedly slam that button just to get it to work.
That's rough. It makes you wonder if it's not just a specific action, but something broader with the controller input mapping in the game's code.
Okay, so let's unpack that for a sec.
Yeah.
For those of us who haven't exactly cracked open a game engine lately, what exactly does controller input mapping even mean?
Sure, so basically, think of your controller like a translator. It takes your button presses, stick movements, and converts them into a language the game can understand. Input mapping is like the dictionary that tells the game what each button press should do.
So it's like the game is misinterpreting what the controller is trying to tell it.
Exactly. And it seems like in A Quiet Place, the translation for some actions is getting lost in the process.
Which leads to those moments where even seasoned players are like, wait, am I doing this right? But why would this only affect certain actions and not others? Shouldn't the game be consistently reading input from the controller?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Game development is this incredibly complex beast. And even with tons of testing, these weird bugs can slip through. There could be a whole bunch of reasons why certain actions are more prone to these input errors than others.
It's almost like a domino effect, right?
Right.
One tiny error in the code can snowball into a whole bunch of gameplay issues.
Exactly. It's like you've got this massive, intricate web of code, millions of lines all working together, and then
One little snag can bring the whole house of cards down.
yeah, kind of. Now, with controller input specifically, there are some usual suspects. One possibility is that the devs use something called a middleware solution for handling it.
Middleware?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like software that acts as a go-between for the game and different controllers?
You got it. A universal translator for controllers so the devs don't have to program support for every single one out there individually. Saves a ton of time.
Right. Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
But how does that tie back to these A Quiet Place bugs?
Well, these middleware solutions, they can be a bit, shall we say, temperamental. Sometimes a button mapping that works perfectly fine with one controller might not translate so well to another, or there might be compatibility issues with certain drivers or operating systems.
Oh, so it's like a game of telephone between your controller, the middleware, and the game itself.
Bingo. And somewhere along the line, the message gets all jumbled up.
And to add even more to the mix, not everyone playing is using the same setup, right? I mean, some people probably have those high-end controllers with all the bells and whistles, and others might be rocking something a little more vintage.
You're right. And that's a whole other layer of complexity developers have to consider. The game has to work across this huge spectrum of hardware and software, each with its own quirks that could cause problems.
Sounds like a logistical nightmare. So how do developers even begin to tackle these bugs? It seems almost impossible.
It's definitely a challenge. And that's where those community forums become absolutely vital.
You mean like a crowdsourced bug hunting party?
Exactly. When players like, Moshu Ikeda and Agathoclus69 take the time to go on the forums and report these issues, They're not just letting off steam, they're actually providing super valuable data for the developers.
It's like a direct line from the front lines, telling the developers exactly where things are breaking down.
You got it. Even seemingly isolated incidents can reveal patterns and help the devs prioritize fixes.
So one player's bug-induced meltdown could save countless others from the same fate. That's actually kind of nice when you think about it.
Right. It shows how collaborative the gaming community can be. Even in a single-player game like A Quiet Place, there's this invisible connection between the players, the developers, and the game itself.
We're all in this together, trying to make the game the best it can be.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important point, the impact these bugs can have on the actual gameplay experience.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially in a game like A Quiet Place, where hello, tension and immersion are everything. Imagine you're totally engrossed, every little sound is making your heart race, and then that bam, buggy controls ruin it all.
Like the director yelling, "Cut!" right at the climax of a movie. It just yanks you right out of the experience.
Yeah, and especially in a game like this where, like we were saying, stealth and precision are key. Even the tiniest slip up, and it's game over, man. Monster shout.
Seriously, it's not just, oh, this is a frustrating bug, but the way it just undercuts the whole experience the developers were going for. All that work to make you feel like you're really there.
So they built this crazy, intense roller coaster, and right before the biggest drop, the whole thing derails. Not cool.
Perfect analogy. And that brings us right back to how important the community is in these situations.
Because one person complaining might get lost in the noise, but a whole bunch of players, the devs have to listen then.
You got it. These forums, they're like an early warning system, right? Bringing stuff to light that might have totally flown under the radar otherwise.
So, takeaway for anyone listening.
Yeah.
If you're tearing your hair out over some ridiculous bug, don't just sit there and suffer.
Preach.
Hit up those forums, tell your tale of woe, misery loves company, and all that. You might just save another player from a rage quit, and who knows, maybe even help make the game a little less crash-prone, one post at a time.
Hear, hear. Couldn't have said it better myself.
So next time a game throws some crazy glitch your way, take a deep breath, remember those forums there for a reason, and get typing. And hey, while you're at it, tell us about your most memorable bug encounters. What drove you absolutely bonkers? What glitches, in some weird way, actually made the game more memorable? Until next time, happy gaming.
Avocado.